Lab symbols. Oh, okay. Today we are doing variables. Charmaine? Today we are doing variables. That's good, right? Just let me go back to... I'm now taking a look at what we are doing for next week. Okay, so next week we are going to be doing about safety in the lab, science and technology. Okay, so the lab symbols and the drawings, etc. Don't have to worry that much. We are going into it, and your teacher will also be doing that topic again. All right, then they talk about accuracy and so on. Let me look at Dina. Okay. Benefits, more demonstration, ways of doing experiment. Okay, can. Okay, let me continue. You have completed this, so watch this video.
We are trying to answer the
Can hear the sound, right?
scientific question, how does water affect plant growth? The scientific question is extremely important because it identifies two key components of your experiment, the independent and the dependent variable. The independent variable is the one variable that we have chosen to change in our experiment. The amount of this variable and how we use it is completely under our control. We are curious about the effects of the independent variable. In our example, water is the independent variable. As a scientist, I can't exactly control how much a plant grows, but I can directly manipulate the amount of water that each plant receives. The dependent variable is the data to be collected. Think dependent data. This variable will be measured to determine results. The dependent variable could be measured by time, or length, or temperature. The dependent variable in our example is growth. Let's look at some more examples. How does studying affect test scores? Which variable is the data to be collected? Test scores. Test scores are the dependent variable. And which variable can be directly controlled or changed by the scientist? Studying. The scientist will determine who studies, what they study, and how long they study for. Studying is the independent variable. Is blood pressure affected by caffeine? Which variable represents the data to be collected? Blood pressure. Blood pressure is the dependent variable. And which variable can be directly controlled or changed by the scientist? Caffeine. The scientist will determine how much caffeine is used in the experiment. Caffeine is the independent variable. Now that we understand scientific questions, it's time to start answering them. A hypothesis is a statement that makes an educated guess to answer the scientific question. There are several different ways to write a hypothesis, but one technique is the if-then statement, which follows this format. If independent variable, then dependent variable. Okay, so if water, then plant growth? Not exactly. Let's shape this up and add a predicted outcome. How about if grass is watered, then plant growth will be affected? This is not a suitable hypothesis. This is the equivalent of saying, if the Lakers play the Knicks, then someone will win. What kind of prediction is that? How about if grass is watered, then plant growth will increase? This is a specific predicted outcome to answer our scientific question. Let's do a few more for practice. How does studying affect test scores? Well, If I study, then my test scores will increase. Is blood pressure affected by caffeine? If I take caffeine, then my blood pressure will increase. Likewise, you could predict that blood pressure will decrease. It's not about getting the right answer. It's about phrasing and formulating the hypothesis correctly.
All right. Charmaine, you understand this part? You were asking about the variable, whether it's dependent or independent, right? So this part, are you okay? I can see you taking some notes, and I think that's good. Okay, so you were taking down notes on hypothesis. Is it correct? How to write hypothesis. Now, in primary school, we learned that also, isn't it? Yeah. So hypothesis is something you struggle with. It's okay. Many students of mine also struggle with hypothesis. So we did a lot of practice, you know. So what I did was one afternoon, those who cannot do hypothesis, I made them stay back. So we started writing a lot of hypothesis. You know what I mean? So I will get them to write, etc. First, I demo, then they will write. Then after that, I will ask them to mark each other's work. Okay, and then we had a lot of fun because we were laughing a lot because of the way people write hypothesis. Okay, so you might struggle with that, but not to worry. Of course, I can tell you, Sec 1, you'll be tested. You will be asked to write hypothesis statement. Okay, so what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is the prediction. You are actually predicting. Okay, so you want to find out something, right? Then you make a prediction first. For example, it's like I'm having coffee. Okay, so they say that coffee actually can make you stay awake. Okay, be more alert, right or not? So this is what people say, but you want to find out whether it's true. As a scientist, we must be curious, right or not, Dina? We have to be curious, right? And then we have to find out whether it is true or not. What people claim, don't know whether true, we test it out. So what is our hypothesis? What is our hypothesis here? The more caffeine I take in, the more alert I will be. Can it be like that? So it's a prediction, right? Dina, do you think it's correct?
Yeah.
How would you write it in another way? Just now they use the if and the then, right? You want to try using that?
For the caffeine.
Yes.
The more caffeine.
No, I use the more caffeine. You cannot use the more caffeine already. You must use if and then.
If. I don't know, I only know the S one, like S more, and then.
Okay. Okay, maybe I go back to the slide just now. Which part was it?
Will determine how much caffeine write a hypothesis and dependent variable. Okay, so if grass is, this is the equivalent, then if grass is water.
Okay, I show you this, will it be easier?
If more caffeine is drunk.
Okay, or consume also can, drank also can.
Then she would be alert more.
Then, okay, then a person will be more alert. It's the grammar. Your concept is right. Grammar not so correct only, right? Can. It works. So, Charmaine, you understand now? So it's like, you know, earlier at this part, right? The person say, okay, this cannot be accepted because will be affected, but you never state your prediction. Effect can be increased or decreased, right? Yeah. So if there's no prediction, it is not a hypothesis. You get what I mean? Another hypothesis I can say is the taller a boy, the more clever he will be. Something like that. Yeah. So I can also say if a boy is taller, then he is smarter. That's my hypothesis. Okay. So it's like I make a guess first. Then I carry out my experiment to check whether my guess is correct. Then if my guess is wrong, I have to write down conclusion. Okay, the hypothesis made is incorrect. Then I plan another experiment again. You understand now? Dina, you also understand this part, right? Because it's always important to check for the accuracy of your prediction. If your prediction is wrong, then you have to make another new prediction and start your experiment all over again. You understand? So this is the part. Not to worry, you are not the only one who struggle with this. Okay, I had to teach my P6 student for quite a while. There's a small group of them very weak in this. So I have to tell them, okay, you stay back, I will guide you. Or they come very early. So I'll go to school at, like 6:10 in the morning. Okay, so they will arrive at about 6:20, 6:30. Okay, and then we will do a lot of science practice until 7:30 when school starts. Okay, that's what I do with the student. Okay, so sometimes you can ask your teacher, you approach your teacher on your own. Okay, because you only meet me once a week, right? Approach your science teacher on your own and ask them whether they can help you. You're very shy, right, Charmaine? Dina, are you shy? Do you dare to go up to your teacher and say, Miss so-and-so, I need help in my science? Dina, will you do that?
Depends.
Depends, Depends on whether you feel the teacher is someone you're comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, everybody is the same. Okay, so now let's look at another one. This is, hold on, let me see. Skip first. Okay, right. Okay, this is, okay. Sorry, I have to come back here. Share again. Okay, can you see this? Okay, I think you can see this now. Right, in this particular topic, when you talk about variables, it was mentioned about independent variable and dependent variable. There is one more you must know, and that is the control variable. Can y'all please take note, because it's definitely tested. Okay, independent, dependent, and control. What's the meaning of them? Okay, I think earlier in the video, independent variable means something you can change. You decide how you want to change it if you are the one doing the experiment. Okay, when I said the caffeine, right, like I'm drinking coffee. Okay, so I can decide drink maybe 1 cup or 2 cup or 3 cup. Or I can say 1 mouthful, 2 mouthful, 3 mouthful. Agree or not? So I'm the one who decides. This independent variable will be the factor that is changing. I know that in primary school, we don't call independent variable, etc. We only say the factor that is changed, the variable that is changed. Yes or no? So this is the term used, independent. Okay, what is dependent variable? Dependent variable is depending on something, then something else will happen. That's why the term dependent comes in. So I was talking about caffeine, right? So what is the thing that is affected by caffeine? Alertness. So alertness is something I will measure. You understand? Okay. This is not a very good example. Okay, I'm just generally saying about the alertness, because different people drink caffeine, they have different reaction. Yeah. And control variable, everything else must stay the same. So they will tell you what are the factors that you must keep